Hello everybody and welcome to another Twilight Zone review. Today it is Season 5, Episode 9, Probe 7, Over and Out, written by Rod Serling and starring Richard Basehart as Colonel Adam Cook and Antoinette Bauer as Eve Norda. And in case you're wondering by the character names, yes, this is the Adam and Eve story done in the form of a Twilight Zone episode, and this is a story that's been done many times before the Twilight Zone and after the Twilight Zone, and I would have to say this is an average version of this story, so I'll get right into the episode. So we start with our main character, Colonel Adam, and we find out that his ship has crashed. Not sure where he was supposed to be going, but he's crashed, and he's not sure where he is, and he also has a bad arm that he obviously hurt, and he's just in a bad situation, and he's trying to get in contact with his general and his home base, and basically his communications are going in and out. So that's the setup for our episode, which is okay. It's kind of average like everything in this episode. So the colonel goes out to explore, and he doesn't find anything, but we do see a bush moving, so we know someone's out there, but he doesn't see this yet at this point. So he goes back into what's left of his ship, and he's in contact with his general, and he finds out that there is a war that is going to start any time now. It looks like there's no avoiding it, and he doesn't show any real sympathy for this Adam. He says there's always some kind of war imminent, and he's got his own problems. He's got a bad arm, very little food, he's not sure what he can eat, and he just has to try and stay alive. Now we find out that this war might wipe everyone out, and there's going to be no one to come save him, basically. So then we go to the next scene, and he's having another talk with the general, and we find out that this war has started, and it's not a good situation. Things are bad, and the general says something interesting. He says, I wish we would have sent some people with you, because then there would have been a better chance of more people surviving. So things are obviously not going well. So our friend the colonel goes back out to explore, and he sees a symbol on the ground, and this excites him because he thinks this is somebody trying to communicate with him, maybe through signs or through a different language. So he's excited because he wants company. He's getting lonely, which is understandable, and then he basically collapses. I'm not sure if this is from being tired or because his arm's hurt. It's not really explained. It looks kind of strange when he falls, but I guess it's fine. So at this point there is a final contact from the base, and it turns out that both sides have wiped each other out, but of course the colonel doesn't hear this because he's laying on the ground and he's out of it. So we go to the next part of the episode, and Adam wakes up, and he hears a noise coming from the other side of the door of his ship, and he's talking to the person through the door, basically telling them he would like them to come out and be friends. So nobody answers at this point, and he's out exploring again, and finally he finds a woman who will find out her name is Norda, and I have to say, I think it takes a little bit too long for the female character to appear in this episode. The scenes between them are okay, they're not bad, but I didn't feel like they were given enough time to develop, and it was just a very slow reveal to find this female character. But with that being said, the rest of the episode goes on. He talks to her, but she doesn't really understand him. At first, Adam thinks he's dreaming, which I guess is understandable because of the circumstances, and he tries to draw on the ground to communicate with her, which is a good idea, and she draws back, so they still don't seem to understand each other that well, but we find out she's an only survivor from somewhere. We're not really sure well, and something must have happened to her ship as well, and they just try and communicate more, and eventually, though, she gets scared and she runs off, so Adam is once again by himself, and he seems a little bit down, which is understandable, and he talks about how it's just in man's nature to be frightened, basically because it's the unknown. So at this point, Adam gets a final communication from his general, so now he knows the whole story and that he will be on his own. So he decides to leave the ship and explore some more, find somewhere to try and survive. And the lady Norda is outside waiting for him, and she communicates that she would like to go with him. So he says, sure, why not? We'll try it, because what else are you really going to do? And he communicates that his name is Adam, and that they'll call this place Earth. And she communicates that her name is Eve. So it's the basic Adam and Eve story with not really that many twists to it. It's just this story done in a Twilight Zone episode. So overall, this is an average Twilight Zone episode, and I give Probe 7 Over and Out a 2.5 out of 5. Like I said, it's an okay episode you can watch if you want, but you won't be missing anything great if you don't. So 2.5 out of 5 for Probe 7 Over and Out, and as always, thank you very much for watching.